Welcome to the first video in a series of videos that we're going to be doing talking about trauma symptoms. And the purpose of this video series is to talk about trauma symptoms that we don't typically associate with trauma. The first one we want to discuss is chronic lying.
Most of us understand that lying is just not okay. I think we all know that. But some of us are liars or even chronic liars, and we lie about trivial stuff. Said you're going to go to the grocery store and you went somewhere else. Or someone just asked you flat out a question and you just lie. Why do you do that? We're going to talk about that in this video.
We often attribute lying to ourselves and others as a character defect. And it certainly can be a character defect, but it can also be a result of trauma. And the reason why is that somebody who has a propensity to chronically lie, typically underlying that will be an intense fear. And that can be a real or perceived fear of something. This fear can produce a stress response or a trauma response in the brain. And the result is once that trauma response kicks in, the person wants to lie to cover it up.
We can all lie to try to get out of trouble, and that's not what we're talking about. We're referring to childhood trauma at the hands usually of a caregiver, and lying is really their only way to protect themselves in a number of ways.
So there's three main ways that I want to talk about how lying can protect a child. First and foremost, it can protect the child from unwanted repercussions, such as abuse. So if a child knows that if they tell the truth that they're going to get hit, they will lie in order to avoid that abuse. Same thing from verbal abuse, emotional abuse, these kind of things, they'll tend to lie. The second way it protects a child is that it might buy that child some time in order to correct a mistake they made before anyone finds out. Again, the reason why is because they're trying to escape the repercussions of that mistake. So that can be another reason for lying. And a third way that lying can protect a child is self-esteem. Sometimes caregivers are verbally abusive or tear down a child in such a way that it attacks who they are. And it can be hard to carry on if they feel that they're a nobody. So they might lie. Or they might lie to teachers or peers in order to compensate for ways that they feel inadequate. Again, these are things that we've all done as children, all done as human beings. But what I'm talking about is a traumatic situation in childhood that has led to chronic lying that is now going over into adulthood as a trauma response.
For many, chronic lying is rooted in abandonment. So if someone feels rejected or if someone feels neglected and they have people around them, they may lie to keep those people connected to them because they fear that they'll leave them.
As you can tell from things that we've discussed in this video, lying serves a purpose. There's a reason why trauma survivors do it. It can help ward off shame, it can help you address issues that are attached to low self-esteem, or it can help mitigate fears of rejection or abandonment. The problem is that chronic lying, like any coping strategy, can become destructive, and usually somebody who had childhood trauma and developed chronic lying as a coping strategy is now experiencing issues in their adult relationships because of the habit. If this is you or someone you love and chronic lying is an issue, we want to give you some helpful hints on how to stop.
The first is engaging in self-reflection. You want to start to understand who you're lying to and how that's triggered. Second, you want to ask yourself why you're lying in the first place so you may be able to address it.
Journaling can also be helpful with chronic lying. So if you identified a situation in which you lied, journaling about what happened and what your thoughts and feelings were can help you identify why you did it and address it better. Another thing is just to pause. Create a new habit of pausing between what you think and what you say. Chronic lying is actually habitual, and so you need to create a new habit of pausing so that your old habit can't run away with you.
So it's really important to practice. Think through situations where maybe you typically wouldn't tell the truth, but now you've committed to, and you want to practice telling the truth. Second, and really important, is just make a decision that lying is off limits. So if that's the case, you're going to have to think through some situations that are going to come to you where you're going to be tempted to lie. Real basic one is if your friend says, "How does my hair look today?" You want to kind of think through even those little situations. How can I tell the truth and still care about this person and share with them in a way that's not going to be too hurtful for them.
As with any habit, you're going to want to put accountability in place. And this is key if you're going to stop chronically lying. So you're going to want to tell somebody what you've been working on, the problems that you've faced, and then be accountable to them and let them know how you're doing stopping. You also need to be patient with yourself. Chronic lying can be really difficult to break, so don't be too hard on yourself and just keep going. Finally, you're going to want to focus on any underlying issues that are related to lying. So issues like trauma and low self-esteem can contribute to chronic lying, and so you want to make sure that you address those as well.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below.
Or head over to becomingwellinstitute.com to learn more about trauma, addiction, intimacy avoidance, and other related topics, take a free assessment, or set up a consult with one of our trained professionals.
Let us help you keep your journey towards becoming well going.